Have you ever loved someone so much that you'd do anything for them? I mean, truly? Anything? That was me. My name is Alex, and for 10 years, Sarah was my world. My sun, my moon, my everything. We built a life together, brick by brick, laugh by laugh. I thought our foundation was solid, made of trust and shared dreams. I was wrong. The foundation was sand, and the tide was about to come in, washing away everything I held dear. This isn't just a story about a broken heart. It's about how a single betrayal can shatter a man's entire reality. It all started subtly. The late nights at the office, the phone calls she'd take in another room, the sudden distance that felt like a vast, cold ocean between us in our own bed. I tried to ignore it. We were busy, I told myself. It's just a phase. Everyone goes through it. I loved her, and love means trusting, right? So I trusted. I bought her excuses. I celebrated her promotions. And I patiently waited for the woman I married to come back to me. I'd make her favorite dinner, only for her to text, "Something came up. Don't wait for me." The plate would sit there, growing cold, just like our home. The doubts, however, started as a whisper and grew into a roar I couldn't ignore. My friend Mark tried to warn me. He'd seen her laughing a little too intimately with her boss, a man named Julian. I got angry, not at her, but at Mark. "You don't know her," I'd say, defending her honor, defending my own denial. But his words planted a seed of suspicion. One evening, she said she was at a work conference an hour away. I just had this gut feeling, a cold, heavy knot in my stomach. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove to her office. The building was dark, the parking lot nearly empty except for one car, Julian's. And right beside it was Sarah's. My heart was pounding in my chest like a drum. I waited. And then I saw them. They walked out together, his arm around her waist, and they kissed. It wasn't a friendly peck. It was a long, passionate kiss, the kind we hadn't shared in years. In that moment, the world didn't just stop. It imploded. Everything went silent. And all I could see was them, a perfect, happy couple, living a life that was a lie. My life. My marriage. Our future. It was all a performance, and I was the unsuspecting audience. I drove home in a daze. The image burned into my mind. The man who loved too deeply was now the man who knew too much. When Sarah came home that night, smiling and talking about her boring conference, I couldn't even look at her. The woman standing in front of me was a stranger. Every word out of her mouth was a calculated lie, and it made my skin crawl. The betrayal was like a poison, seeping into every memory we ever shared. Our wedding day, our first home, our trips together. Were they all just part of the act? The next day, I confronted her. I didn't yell, I didn't scream. My voice was calm, eerily so. I just asked, "How was your real conference, Sarah? The one with Julian?" The color drained from her face. For a moment she tried to deny it, but the look in my eyes told her I knew. Then came the tears. Not of remorse, but of frustration at being caught. She told me it just happened. She said she was confused. But then, the most painful words of all came out. "He sees me, Alex. He makes me feel alive." Alive? What had I been doing for the past 10 years? Had I been making her feel dead? Every sacrifice I made, every late night I worked so she could pursue her dreams, every time I put her happiness before mine, it all amounted to nothing. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was erased. The divorce was brutal. She fought for everything, twisting our history to paint me as the villain. She wanted the house I had poured my soul into renovating. She wanted half of the savings I had painstakingly built. Julian was by her side through it all, a constant smug reminder of my failure. I felt like a ghost in my own life, watching someone else dismantle it piece by piece. My friends and family rallied around me, but their support felt like it was coming from behind a thick wall of glass. I could see them, hear them, but I couldn't feel anything. The man who used to be full of life and laughter was gone, replaced by an empty shell. I lost the house. It was the final blow. Standing on the sidewalk, watching them change the locks, I felt a profound sense of loss that went beyond just a building. That house was a monument to our love, and now it was their love nest. I hit rock bottom. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I just existed. My work suffered. My health declined. The world kept spinning, but I was stuck, replaying the betrayal over and over. It felt like I hadn't just lost a wife, I had lost myself. Who was Alex without Sarah? For a decade, we were Alex and Sarah. Now I was just Alex. And I had no idea who that was. But you know, they say rock bottom is a solid foundation to rebuild on. One morning I woke up and I was just tired. Tired of the sadness, tired of the anger, tired of letting her betrayal define me. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the hollowed-out man looking back. That was the turning point. I decided that I would not let her have the satisfaction of destroying me. My ultimate price wouldn't be my life or my happiness. It would be the years I had already lost, no more. I started small. I went for a run, feeling my lungs burn, feeling alive for the first time in months. I called Mark and apologized. I started reconnecting with old friends. I threw myself into my work, not as a distraction, but with a newfound purpose. I started a project I had always dreamed of, a small woodworking business. The act of creating something beautiful and solid with my own hands was therapeutic. I was sanding away the rough edges of my own grief, building a new life, plank by plank. Slowly the color started to return to my world. I discovered that just Alex was a pretty decent guy. He was resilient. He was creative. He was a survivor. I learned that my value was never tied to her love, and my happiness was my own responsibility. It was a long, difficult journey, and the scars are still there. But they are no longer open wounds. They are reminders of a battle I fought and won. I paid a price for loving too deeply, yes. But in the end, I gained something far more valuable. Myself. My story is a testament that betrayal doesn't have to be the end. It can be a painful, brutal, but ultimately transformative beginning. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever felt this kind of pain, know that you are not alone, and you have the strength to rebuild. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of survival and strength. See you in the next one.